What is the biggest mistake that owners make when delegating to that new assistant?
Delegating is a skill set. There is going to be a learning curve. Being sure that you're able to release the tasks that need to be released, communicate. Oftentimes people are busy, and so they have the mindset that, okay, I've got someone, I can just dump all this on them, and then they go to work. It really doesn't work that way.
Hey, everybody, it's Jennifer Dawn. Welcome to a new episode of the Happy Productive Podcast. Today, I have a very special guest with us, Miss Tonya Thomas. Tonya, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, Tonya is the founder of Team Delegate, and you guessed it, you guys, we're going to be going into delegation. So all my busy, hurried, frazzled, overwhelmed business owners, I need you guys to tune in today because this is what we're going to be talking about, is getting you unfrazzled and unoverwhelmed and delegating and getting some help. So Tonya, before we jump in, would you mind giving us a little background on just a little of your story and how you came to be doing the work that you're doing?
Sure. I had a background being an executive assistant, and I always wanted to be a business owner as well, but at the time, my husband and I traveled a lot for his work, and so I can't have a business because we're moving all the time. And when I had my first son, I was home on maternity leave, and I came across a training program to be a virtual assistant. It's okay, this fits my background perfectly. So I took that training program, and I've been doing it ever since. This was back in 2000, so I've been in the industry now for over 25 years.
Wow, wow. Now, sometimes, right now, thankfully, my team is awesome. But I remember when it was time to hire an assistant, whether it be an executive assistant, a virtual assistant, and just the idea of, oh my gosh, I have to hire somebody can be so overwhelming. And what do you recommend? How do you help a busy business owner who knows they need to hire somebody, but the whole process just feels really overwhelming?
Sure, I know it can be because I talk to business owners in different facets, those who've never had support before. And so for them, yeah, they don't know where to start. So the biggest thing is determining where you actually need the help, because it's always good to go into it knowing specifically where someone's going to help and support you. And I know people can find that piece to be challenging as well. But the thing to do is, even if you just keep a notepad or something like that on your desk of what you're doing each day and being cognizant of that for at least 4 or 5 days, and whatever you're putting your hands to, is this something that someone else could do for me? And just keeping track of that. And that usually gives you a good little list of where you can start.
Tonya, you read my mind because that is literally the number one thing that I do. I will either have a little notepad or in our project management software. So we use Asana. If you're using something like that or ClickUp or Monday or whatever, I'll just open a new task if I want to put it in my Asana, and I'll just be like, whatever that new position's going to be. And as I go through a week or two, every time I'm like, oh, you know what? Somebody else could be doing this for me. I'll just jot it down. And usually after a week or two of doing that, first of all, it's given me the time as a business owner to really get clear on, do I have enough work to really hire somebody? And then when you have that list, you could pretty easily just drop it into the AI tool of your choice and say, just write me a job description or write me a job ad. And these are the things that I need somebody to help me with. And it becomes really, really fast of getting over even the hurdle of, oh, I have to write a job ad. It can be like a challenge, but now with AI, as long as you give it real clarity on, I want to post a job on LinkedIn and use that format, and here's the things I need them to do, it can crank it out for you in 30 seconds if you give it really good stuff. I love that. Just keep it easy, you guys. Don't make it more hard than it needs to
Right.
be, and just keep a little list as you go through your day. And how do you address, because I see this with a lot of our clients, and I suffered from it as well, of just, oh, Nobody can do it except for me. I'm sure you see some of this too. So, what's your advice for the business owner who, as they're making that list, they're like, oh, no, 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 I'm the only one who can do it?
Helpful for people to do. But then you also have, you're right, sometimes people just don't want to release things. But that part, when it's that way, you have to have a different mindset frame. So it's kind of like, okay, why are you doing this? So keeping in the forefront of your mind why you're even delegating to in the virtual executive assistant in the first place. And typically that's because you want to put your time somewhere else. Where if you hang on to those things, you can't do that. So you're not going to attain that goal. And I think that's the biggest area where people need to be mindful of your why. And that's also helpful too in terms of you letting go of things. So covering that trust factor, which is most of the time what it is, but then sometimes, yeah, if you're just thinking, okay, I can just do this easier and faster myself, it's still taking your time away from other areas that you could be putting your time to move the business forward.
Yeah, I think that's a really key thing is that when you look at all the time that you're taking to just do it yourself, and if you took that time and you worked on moving your business forward with it, it's pretty significant. The difference when you get all that time back and you use it for the work that only you can do. Yeah,
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, so make a little list. Go a week or two. That becomes the job posting of who you're looking for. And then what about the hiring process? That can be really overwhelming as well. And so what do you recommend as far as making that hiring process go a little bit more smoothly?
And for that, because it's a little different for me because I have an agency now. And so that's the reason why I guess there would be the difference, I would say, if you were wanting to go it on your own versus working with an agency. Of course, with an agency, we take care of all of that. So there's no need for you to even deal with that piece. So in full transparency, I don't really have much to share there in terms of that piece. But I guess what I could say is just really know what you're looking for, because this part doesn't matter if you're going agency model or going it on your own. Know what you're looking for in terms of the support. And I find that a lot of times people don't know that part. And that's where you can get tripped up because, of course, yeah, you know what you want to give them. You've got that piece. But having an idea of what are your goals, what do you want to get out of the working relationship, what does success look like, all of those types of things, I would say knowing those things before you move forward, because that's going to be things that you do need when you are doing the search.
Yeah, absolutely. Because this is such an important part of knowing the difference between doing it yourself or hiring an agency and all of the things that an agency will do for you. In the past, I have somebody on my team who's trained up, and it took me some time to really get her trained up. But it's a lot when you start vetting candidates and doing background checks, and we always send them a little task to do just to see who can follow directions, which is most of them can't, and who can follow directions, and then coordinating interviews and doing all the pre-screens. And so if you have somebody on your team that's trained up and that can do it, or if you want to do all of that yourself, you certainly can. Or you can hire an agency, which is what Tonya has. And then that's where an agency is going to do all that heavy lifting for you, so that I'm assuming, Tonya, like you guys can just, and don't correct me if I'm wrong, but usually with an agency, you guys deliver up one, two, three a couple of candidates, and just so that way you're only having to interview the people who really made the cut and you feel like would be a good fit, and you get to bypass all of that legwork. Is that right?
Correct. With mine, what we do is we select the person for you, because again, that still takes that piece off of you. And then me having been in this industry for 25 years, I have a wealth of knowledge of what a good executive assistant entails. And so that piece is taken care of for you. But yes, there are some where you have the ability to be able to probably interview people as well. So you're still involved in that process, in the selection process. But yeah, that is the difference too with an agency. We've done all the background work for you. so that you don't have to handle that piece.
Nice. So you can just hand it off to you, and then you're like, hey, here's your assistant. Beautiful,
Right.
beautiful. Okay, so let's say that you've now picked the perfect assistant and it's time to get to work. So, what is the biggest mistake that owners make when now delegating to that new assistant?
Yeah, and this is the tricky part because I always say that delegating is a skill set. And a
Yeah.
lot of people don't think about it that way, but it truly is. And if you've never done it before, there is going to be a learning curve. So I always say not getting frustrated behind that, but going in as prepared as you can be. So you're right. Once you have that person, it's okay, now what? And so you have what you need them to support you with, but then there's also the part of managing that process without micromanaging at the same time. So being sure that you're able to release the tasks that need to be released, communicate, and that's the other thing that I always say is important because oftentimes people are busy, hence you getting someone, and so they have the mindset that okay, I've got someone, I can just dump all this on them and then they go to work. It really doesn't work that way because the person still needs to get time to know you, your likes, your dislikes, and that only comes through communication. And that's talking, not necessarily just email as well, but I think if you're willing to take the time to invest that time initially to meet and talk things through so they get a chance to know you, what you're about, why they're doing the things, what's important to you in terms of the outcome. All of those things are going to be super important in making sure that it's a successful working relationship.
Yeah, I agree completely. We have a simple framework that we share with our clients, and it just goes into, hey, if you're going to delegate something, here's the 5 things that you need to make sure you do. And I even go back and refer to it when I'm delegating something because I just want to get it done, get it off my plate. And it's no, 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 Jennifer, you got to slow down. And you got to make sure you give all the information because once you do give all the information, your person is trained, they've got it. They rarely, sometimes, but rarely have questions, and then they take it over and they do it so well. And sometimes they even do it better than I would have done it because they're not as rushed. They've got the time and they want to do the task really, really well. I love that. When you just slow down and make sure that you're communicating. I know it's hard when you hire that person because you're so busy, but I tell all of our clients just you've got to take that upfront time, follow this little framework, and the better that you do upfront of communicating and training, the more time you're going to get on the back end. In fact, you're going to get it back in a multiplication because you won't have to be going back and forth and retraining, and then that's just so super frustrating.
Exactly. And they'll have the skill set. So the skill set part the EA has, but
Hmm.
everything we just talked about in terms of there's still some pieces of that, like I mentioned, the why, all those things are important because if people understand those things, you're going to get better output from them. So
Yeah.
having the ability to be able to talk with them and communicate and things like that, because I found like I see a lot of times clients are maybe busy, like we talked about, and they won't keep meetings, and but those meetings are important too, in
Mhm.
terms of the support that you're going to get.
Absolutely. Are there any tips that you have for delegating that will actually save you time versus creating more work for yourself when you don't delegate the right way?
Yes. For example, we talked about the communication piece, but being organized with it as well. If you're able to, I know you talked about Asana having a project management platform or something like that, that the two of you are using, keeping it organized, being available for questions if someone has questions and being available to answer those questions because I know hearing it on the executive assistant side, it can be frustrating for them if they because you can bottleneck their process if you're not available for questions to be able to answer that they can move forward with if it's something that involves you or a piece that you need to give them so that they continue moving forward, that type of thing like that. But Those are the biggest areas where I see where it can drop off in just not giving all the information. For example, maybe you have some research that you want someone to do, and your instructions are, I want this by April 30th. April 30th rolls around and it's 8:30 and you may not have it, but the person may be thinking, I'm going to get this to them on April 30th at 3 o'clock. There was a communication gap because there wasn't a specified time. So clear communication and organization, I think, are key.
Yeah, I agree. That always requires me to slow down. When I have to slow down and really think about the deliverable, the date it needs to be done by, it does take time to communicate really well. But again, you're going to save it on the backside. You're going to reduce errors. You're going to have a task completed so much more efficiently because they're able to do it right the first time than just, being in a rush and not giving all the info. Yeah, beautiful. Tonya, thank you so much for being on the show today. I think these are all really, really good tips. I'm going to just drop in a little bit too for those of you who are listening and you're like, woohoo, now I'm going to go find somebody. And I'm going to let Tonya share where you can find her as well. But for those of you who find that the whole process feels really overwhelming, or you need to hire an assistant and maybe you've needed to hire one for a long time, but you find that your behavior is just still not following in line, right? You're just still not doing it. Or if you have an assistant and you still really, really struggle with delegation, I'm going to pop in and say that's the deeper emotional work that we do with our clients, because those are deeper patterns. They're not at the surface level. So if delegation and handling the overwhelm and all that, you're like, check the box, I got it, great. But if it is something you're really struggling with, it is a deeper emotional issue. And come see us in Freedom Builders. Hop on my website and find out more. And I just want to give you a little hope here that even if you're like, I really want to hire an assistant, but I'm the only one who can do it, or I just can't delegate, it's not true. And if you get some help with that, you're going to get some help with it. And then once you do that, working with somebody like Tonya and her agency and getting an assistant and really having it be successful is entirely possible. It's entirely possible. Tonya, take a moment, tell everybody, where can they find you?
Sure, I am a heavy LinkedIn user, so I'm always posting there. You can find me there where I share information about productivity, working with executive assistants and delegation, and then also our website, teamdelegate.com.
Beautiful. All right, you guys, we will also put Tonya's information in the show notes. I'm going to encourage you to stop being overwhelmed, stop trying to do everything yourself, get some help and get some really, really good help. So check the show notes where you can find Tonya and Team Delegate. You can also hop on our website at jenniferjohncoaching.com. And that's it for today. I thank you so much, Tonya, for being here with me.
It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Jennifer.
You're so welcome. All right, guys, that's it. Get out there and have a happy, productive day, y'all. Bye.
If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love to have you join us inside Freedom Builders, my coaching community for entrepreneurs who are ready to slow it on down, do the inner work, and build soul-aligned businesses that are happy, productive. Everything you need is linked below in the description, or you can visit my website at jenniferjohncoaching.com. I hope to see you there.